We're speaking with Dave Douglas and Bill Morrison, approximately, almost exactly 2 months to the day from the premiere of Spark of Being. You've commissioned work with us. And I know the project takes place in the context of a campus-wide Art Plus Invention initiative, and the touchstone that you've chosen to address that is the Frankenstein story, and you've chosen the title Spark of Being. And I'm curious, what were you thinking about when you chose, that story to address this with, that title, and how has it perhaps evolved in the time that you've been collaborating so far?
Well, we've already been talking about doing a piece that was specific to Stanford in some way, and so naturally we thought of technology, art and technology, and how they're related, and we were both very drawn to the Muybridge photos that are collected here, and some of the other digital issues that are found their roots here, and the internet and fair use and a bunch of different issues that intersect. So it seemed like an ideal environment to explore some of these issues, but we didn't really have a framework to do it in. And I'm a filmmaker who's been making films using pieces of other films for quite a while, and always sort of had it in the back of my mind that it'd be nice to take a stab at doing Mary Shelley's Frankenstein in that manner. I think Dave and I were well into our conversations about this, and with Stanford Lively Arts, probably a year into our talks, had a different title, and we started saying, well, what if we were to make a Frankenstein piece? And that got us very excited, and we saw that that could be a framework for talking about these other issues. So from there we opened up Mary Shelley's Frankenstein and went to the paragraph where the scientist makes his creation, and he mentions the spark of being, and that became our title.
Dave, I'm wondering in particular, musically, how has that title led you, how's it led your thoughts?
I think Bill said it really well. It's sort of a metaphor for the way that we're working, both with archived image and also with sampled sound, pre-existing recorded audio being blended into the piece with acoustic instruments. I think on some levels, thinking about science, both the natural sciences, a natural philosophy as it was understood in the 19th century, but also the way that it works in the arts today, led me to some of the themes that I used in writing the music. And I think maybe the most obvious example is using Morse code to derive rhythms that are thrown around and played back and forth, both as parts of the themes and in the improvisations.
In that Morse code, are you using existing texts, or are you just using the letters in kind of a non-programmatic way? Or?
Well, actually, the one Morse code phrase that's probably the most recognizable in the piece is the word creature. Because for me, rereading Shelley and talking to Bill about his thoughts about, I hate to say Frankenstein, because it means such a different thing than what the Shelley connotes. But
for one thing, Shelley refers to the doctor rather than the monster when she says Frankenstein. Correct.
Exactly, and there is no name for the creature, the monster. But also, the most striking thing is that in Shelley, the creature, when he first opens his mouth, begins to speak in this very florid, poetic Victorian English, and has a firm grasp of philosophy and history. And I laughed out loud when I got to that part of the book. It was so unexpected.
Yeah, he actually, wins an argument with the doctor.
He convinces the doctor that because he's been created, he deserves to have a mate, a bride. and the doctor sets about doing it, and then as he starts working, he realizes, oh my God, what have I done? This is horrible. And he destroys his laboratory, much to the chagrin of the creature, who remains unnamed, and who, in every other rendering, doesn't have a voice. He's kind of this, blithering, blundering idiot, kind of wandering through the swamp. And I felt like, giving a voice to the creature was sort of important. So that's one of the Morse code phrases that you'll hear.